All right, first off, I appreciate everyone being here. Excited to get really right back to work, and that's exactly what this week is about. Just recapping the Western Carolina game. Just a lot of credit goes to our players. The focus that they had through the course of 7 hours, but more importantly, to keep the edge that I thought they came out and played with every time, I thought was really, really important. We saw a tremendous amount of growth game 1 to game 2, but our execution still isn't to the standard. There's still a lot to work on, which is exciting for me as a coach, and that is really through all 3 phases. I thought we had good performances, good times, good moments. But to play championship football, we need to elevate that standard. The best part, there's no one satisfied in this building. Everyone that showed back up on Sunday morning and Sunday morning early was ready to get back to work. Offensively, obviously you can see what happens when Damon Claiborne's out there. He's the table setter for our offense. Obviously big plays, explosive plays, shot plays, a lot of really good things on that side of the ball. Defense continues to be elite at not giving up explosive plays. Okay, and I don't care who we play. I think that's really, really important. Western Carolina, can take the ball down the field. We did a good job of that. And if we can continue to take the ball away, that's going to be an advantage on that side of the ball. In special teams, we had 3 game breakers, the pin punt, the punt return, and the kickoff inside the 15. But even in that phase, we botched the timing on a kickoff and he doesn't kick the ball or a field goal. So there's just so many things when you really watch the tape and you dive in to continue to grind on and work for. And obviously looking forward, to this week's matchup, ACC opener, Big 4 opponent. It's at home. It's Thursday night. Sports Center is going to be on campus. We're sponsored by Pepsi for this game. I've had Diet Mountain Dew running through my veins really all week. Said, we're looking hopefully to get 5,000 students. Will, have we canceled classes? Will, you working on that? Okay, so hopefully everyone can be there Thursday night. I think the biggest message to our team is everyone knows that. There's a lot of noise about it. There's a lot of talk about it. Obviously the opener, I'm a big believer. Players understand the moment. Okay, my message to those guys is you're wrong if your preparation changes. You're wrong if your intensity towards this game changes. Okay, we understand what it means. Okay, but at the same time, the standard of how you prepare, the standard of how you approach an opponent has got to be the same, right? And that's going to show up today at practice. We're practicing this afternoon. Excited about getting those guys back out there. We understand what it means to our state, our institution, and everything else. I don't want anyone to think that. Okay, but at the end of the day, our guys got to understand what it takes to prepare in a really, really unique week. Okay, so if they're not spending their time on academics or football, they're wrong. Right, you got to make great time decisions this week, and I think that's very, very important. So, got a lot of respect for Coach Doran. I've tracked him throughout his career. Obviously, their football team looks like they should in year 13. They're big, they're physical, they're fast. They've gotten off to a good start. They're 2-0 against 2 good opponents. They're battle-tested. We're excited about taking this team into this environment and once again seeing what we're made of. So, we got to get back in the dark. We got to get on the preparation points. We've already had 2 great walkthroughs. Excited for this afternoon's practice and the mentality that those guys bring to that because they're going to be a little sore. Okay, you have every excuse in the world to kind of go out there and go through the motions. We need to get better this afternoon and be a better football team because of it. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Coach, since you're not from this area, Midwest on West,
yeah.
How familiar are you with the rivalry with NC State? I mean, the Big 4 in general, but for particular this week.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around a lot of rivalries. The Dakota Marker, fantastic rivalry. The Border War, Colorado State, Wyoming, the Apple Cup. And now to walk into the Big 4, I think is something really important. I think we got to preserve these games. I'm a big fan of always playing all 3 of them. Right, whether that has to be non-conference or not, I think that's a big thing for us, our state, and hopefully all 4 institutions. We preserve rivalries. I just came from a place where that one's getting a little bit diminished, right? You saw the Oklahoma State. What does it still mean in college football? So I think it's a big deal. I think we understand that. But who's going to do simple better is going to win this game. You don't have fancy schemes. You don't have time for it, right? What you do and what you see. We spent a lot of time on NC State this summer. I mean, a lot of time. So we put in a lot of preparation work then, and now it's just applying it to what you see on the film through the first couple games.
Jake, how different is the prep and the schedule with 2 fewer days and with a game that lasted a lot longer than you thought it would?
Yeah, that's the other one. I mean, we're on our feet for 7 hours there. have a plan, and we had to adjust it slightly here, but, walkthroughs and installs in the morning, we're flipping to afternoon practice to give the body a little bit more recovery. I think that's important. And we're going to balance out the reps. It's no longer like 70-30 ones and twos. It's really like 50-50 this week. You might only get to see the look one time. So I think the mental intensity you need in a week like this is very important. The message is, in the NFL, you do it Sunday to Thursday, right? So this is one extra day. But finding that right balance is key, so we're peaking Thursday night. There's a lot of positives to take from Robbie's performance. I think the shot balls and some of the ones, we got to have those receivers go get them for him too, because it's not always going to be perfect. But, just like anything else at that quarterback position, you can't turn the ball over, and, he takes responsibility for those three. And, we got to be better in that area. But I think the explosiveness running the ball you saw, a little more off script you saw. I'm still looking forward to him scrambling around and finding some people down the field. I think that's another element that we're going to need out of his game. But taking care of the ball is going to be at a premium against a really good NC State defense. Yeah. I think that's dual. I think schematically we've got to find unique ways to get him the ball in the slot. I think he's got to get himself going too. Like, we expect him to make that catch. And so does he. I think that's the best part about the way we see it. We'll do some things. We got on the screen early and we mess up the blocking. Like, there's some flow things that we need to get, Los in rhythm. This is his first year playing in the slot, so I think he's still feeling that out. He is savvy, but you got to create some of your own space in there, right? So I think we'll do a good job schematically this week, finding ways where he can excel getting the ball.
You mentioned limiting the explosive defensively. What's gone into that?
Well, we preach it. We talk about it a lot. We show it a lot. It's the big belief in the core of our defense in playing a one-high shell, that you can't always get all those guys down in there. You might be short a gap. You got to twist the front. You got to find creative and unique ways to help that out. And then just the awareness of going being good down the field playmakers, right? You point to the corners, right? Those guys are on the islands the most. They've held up so far. NC State will test that, and I'm excited for our guys to rise up to that deal. So this week you'd say affecting the quarterback. Western Carolina, we just really affected the quarterback. Going forward, the biggest change between our summer prep and now, Bailey has taken a big step forward. Like, he is playing quarterback now. Okay, last year, they were very cautious with him. He is playing quarterback, and he has the keys to the car, and he is driving it. So it's the old deal of, like, let's get pressure on him, let's keep him in the pocket, right? Those are two things that are really hard to do and say in the same sentence. So there's a unique challenge of going out there and getting them, dropping, spying, making him being a pocket passer. There's just a lot of things. He's dangerous with his legs. He's shown that really well throughout the course of the first couple games. So I think he presents a really tough challenge, and one that we're working through right now.
On the opposite side of that, your offense had a lot of explosive plays. I think every scoring drive was under a minute. Just what does it say? How encouraging is it to see that group have that potential?
It's good, but I don't want them to rely on it. So I think it's double-sided. I think we did what we needed to do against our opponent. I think we felt like those things were there, and when you watch the tape, there's so much more out there, right? So that's where it's encouraging, I think. But I want to make sure our guys know we're going to have to grind some things out. We do have to be explosive. We still have to take the ball down the field. I said it in here last time, or maybe at the radio show, we can't be afraid of 2nd and 10. I thought that was the difference in the way we called that game, and we're going to need to continue to do that. So put our guys in the best positions to trust them to go make plays. And that's just not number one, right? It's all those guys. So we need to continue to lean into that, because you can feel the difference on the sideline. You can feel the difference in the momentum of the game. But when we need to go grind out a 13-play drive, we got to be able to do that too.
Damon said Saturday after the game he was trying to talk you guys into not taking him out towards the end of the game. Did that ever get to you, or was that handled at the
that never got to me. No. I think we're on a good understanding of his workload, what we wanted to see him do, and how he did it. I guarantee that's the truth. He wants to be out there playing ball, right? So I was proud of his week of preparation, but also proud that we got out of the game not being worse than what we went into it with, and he's going to have a normal week of practice this week and going to be ready to go for Thursday night.
During camp and even when you got here, you talked to me about one of the keys to your offense was the simplicity, hand the ball to number one and watch him just go. That came.
Well, I wish it was that easy, but yeah, I probably did say that.
Were you kind of looking at that saying, hey, I told you so?
Well, I did say last week it's like losing a quarterback. I know that's a hard comparison, but for our offense, it is that way. Here's what I love. Damon had enough awareness after the game on his bounce run, that first one, to say, man, Micah Mays, what a play. And what a play it was. He was running a hitch. He didn't stop. He went out and sealed the corner down the sideline. Damon goes. And when you have a live wire back there, that's what I call him, right? I mean, sometimes you're running zone to the right, and he goes way left, right? I've coached some players like that where you don't want to put them in a box. So sometimes you're going to be like, man, we just created a 3-yard loss. But there is a lot of greatness that's going to come out of him playing the way he plays naturally, right? So I'm impressed by what that was, for the first time, really seeing him in live action. And we're going to need, those runs and more as we continue to go throughout the season. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I would say this. You guys are going to get your first injury report tomorrow, so I'm not going to comment on that. But I would say not just Zamari Stevenson, but Braylon Johnson. Braylon's been I wouldn't even say a great surprise because he comes in and he is professional about everything he does. His dad is a legendary high school coach in Virginia. You can tell he comes from that background, and we played him at corner. We played him at free. See him to come in there and not miss a beat's important. You just can't replace a guy like Rue. He's worked his tail off. So I know he's working hard to be back, and we'll update you when it comes out. I will say this. Everyone thinks just easy, well, just kick in a tackle to play guard. It doesn't work like that, right? The space and getting things in your face and the quick contact. George, I said we had 6 starters at O-line, and that's the way he played. He came in there, he filled in, he was physical. He loves the trap pull, something you don't do at tackle. I thought he did really, really well. Tons of little things to clean up technically, but I thought he handles his own. He was right for the moment. He had that good look in his eye. Excited the way George played and the way our offensive line, I thought, took a step forward, and we're going to need that.
With the defensive line getting as much pressure on the Western Carolina quarterback, like you said, what specifically did you see from the line? I mean, from our view, it looked like the edges were getting a lot of pressure on, but what did you see in the middle of that?
Yeah, I mean, Langston Hardy was unblockable. In the times that he got the chance to really go out there and do it, he was our defensive player of the game. I think he had a couple sacks and just really affected those guys. Like you take a look at Zamari Stevenson's interception, and everyone talks about Z, and it was a great play. But you got B.J. Williams and I think Dallas Afalava just sandwiching the quarterback. So we talk a lot defensively about rush and coverage working together. And when we sit these guys in this room, we show it. Right, guys, this is us working together. The disguise makes the quarterback hold it. Now the defensive line can go get it. Right, there's a lot of specific details. A lot of individual players get things when you get sacks or picks. But, man, it is all 11 working together to go make those things happen. Zach, Loavichin has been great through the first 2 games. Dallas, Mateen, Loving, I thought, was very destructible. We got to get his pad level down. But those guys are stalwarts. And when you hunt together and you don't play as a selfish player when you're rushing the passer, which is going to be big this week, I think everyone can eat in that scenario versus just one guy. All right, thanks, everybody. Go Deeks.